You're good to go.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board for the City of Reading. I'd like to introduce the members of our board. Jeff,
Jeff Catone, member of the board.
Jared,
Jared Bartz, member of the board.
Charlie,
Harley Jones, alternate member of the board.
Bill Harst, Bill,
Bill Karst, member of the board.
Tom.
Tom
Okay.
Fox, member of the board.
Okay. And tonight, our zoning officer, Emily.
Emily Diaz-Melendez with the zoning office.
Thank you. And our solicitor tonight, Mark. Oh, you're muted. I don't know. We can't hear you.
Really?
There you
Oh,
go.
no. Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I was facing the wrong direction. Mark Zimmer for Steve Price, solicitor for the zoning hearing board.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about
We're going to change the order of things a little bit. The first thing that I want to announce is there was appeal 2411-0032. It was 213 South 11th Street. It involved the Reading Parking Authority, and that is going to be put off until January the 25th. Okay. And then the next thing that we have is an appeal for 2023-34, 201 South 6th Street. They've run into some issues with federal financing and a number of other things. It's a very good project, and they're making a request to have an extension for 1 year. And they have the information to back that up. So I am going to make a motion to grant the extension for 1 year. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. All right, now we have two appeals this evening from last month's meeting. We have appeal 2410-0029, which was 1212 Perkiomen Avenue. Mark?
So as it relates to our first appeal, 2412-0029, is there a motion to approve the requested relief subject to the conditions as set forth in the written decision?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
All in
All
favor,
in-
say aye.
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 Okay,
Sounds like we're unanimous.
all right, that is correct. The next appeal is 2410-0030. It's 101 and 103 South 10th Street. Mark?
As it relates to that property, is there a motion to approve the request subject to the conditions as set forth in the written decision?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed?
It's approved and it's unanimous. Okay, let me just see once here. All right, Mark, we have an issue here that was left over from our November meeting. So Mark, do you want to speak to that, please?
Are you referring to appeal number 2409-0028 pertaining to 1506 North 13th Street?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to deny the relief requested?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Here's the motion carries as a denial.
Okay. And just so everybody understands why we did that, the people did not even show up for the appeal. So we had no notice, whatever, and that's why we did this way. All right, this evening, we have a continued case. It's Appeal 2407-0019, 210 Fairmont Avenue. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
You swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mark?
Like to introduce the exhibits. Exhibit 1 would be the notice. Exhibit 2 is proof of publication. Exhibit 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit 4 is the application and all of its attachments. And Exhibit 5 is the zoning ordinance as amended. Does the applicant have counsel?
Yes, I'll enter my appearance. Joan, middle initial E, London, London, Kozloff Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing, 19610.
Okay, and if you'd like to do an offer of proof, that's fine with us. And if you're going to have somebody testify, we'll have the stenographer swear them in first.
All right, I may have Mr. Soriano and Mr. Massiotti testify. I'm not sure if Mr. Massiotti is on right now.
Okay,
Okay, but I would like to have Mr. Soriano sworn because I may ask him some questions.
all right. Do you want to swear him in, please, Sandy?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Joan, proceed.
Okay, I'm just getting a text message from Lou Massiotti. He needs a meeting ID. He does not have that. So Emily, could you possibly provide that?
Yeah, I'll forward him the calendar invitation.
Yeah, if you could forward him that, and then but I will start in the meantime. Thank you. Mr. Soriano is a principal in TSG Auto Service LLC and doing business as TSG Rentals and Sales LLC, which is an automobile repair business. The business operates on Fifth Street Highway in Muhlenberg Township. TSG rents property from the North End Rod and Gun Association, and with the application, there is an authorization from the North End Rod and Gun Association for this application and for the use of the property at 2010 Fairmount Avenue for the requested use. The area of the land rented is 37,000 square feet, nearly 1 acre. And TSG is renting this property to use it for off-site storage of vehicles awaiting repairs and vehicles in temporary impoundment, either temporary police impoundment for the driver to retrieve in the next several days, or while the vehicle is being repaired. The cars would be parked on the property only as temporary storage awaiting repairs because there's not sufficient space on the Muhlenberg Township lot. They would be retrieved by Mr. Soriano or an employee of TSG. It is not a place where customers would come to this lot on a regular basis, so it would not cause any type of traffic or a lot of customers entering and exiting. The vehicles awaiting repair would be there no longer than a few days. There would be no storage of any type of junked cars or abandoned cars, and if a car was not picked up by the owner within a reasonable period of time, as an auto body repair, establishment, Mr. Soriano has experience in getting the title to the vehicle through the state as an abandoned vehicle, so it would be able to be removed from the lot. The area would be a paved area and on which it would be stored. It would not be a gravel area. There are some photographs that were attached with the application. Emily, would you be able to share the screen?
Was it with the original application or were they submitted afterwards?
Wasn't there an aerial photo and some photographs submitted with the
Yep.
application?
All
You
right,
don't see them?
they're loading, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. And what that is the aerial photograph. And since Mr. Soriano is here, I will ask him to testify as to the location of the proposed use.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Soriano, where the cursor is pointing, is that the location of the proposed use?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and what are the uses surrounding the proposed use?
As in, there is a club on the property. It's behind go ahead. Yep, that would be
And
that
is
area.
And is that the North End Run and Gun Association?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and
In the number 600, there is a child care center there. Correct. The 2040 is an abandoned building. It was recently knocked down. And then the parking right in front, I guess, belongs to the warehouse, which is on the 2120. There's a warehouse right in the corner, correct?
now they're shown some stands of trees and plantings. Would those remain in place?
Correct.
And if you were asked to put in additional buffering around to screen it from surrounding uses, would you be willing to do so?
Correct, yes.
Now, there are what appears to be tractor trailers that are parked on that lot. If you were granted the requested variances, would you have tractor trailers parked on the lot?
No, not at all.
And you would agree that as a condition of approval, that they would only be private passenger motor vehicles and not trucks or tractor trailers?
Correct, yes.
And you would only be parking on the paved area?
Yes.
Hey,
Okay, now, will there be fencing for security?
Yes.
And what type of fencing will be used?
It has the chain link fencing on it at the moment.
Okay, and would you put in additional screening that would make the fence an opaque fence that couldn't be seen through?
Yes, correct. It actually has some on it at the moment, and if additional is necessary, we would add more if so.
Okay. Now, we're also asking for a variance to allow barbed wire on the fence. Can you tell us why you want to allow barbed wire?
For safety purposes, for neighbors around, just in case anybody wants to break in.
And are cars a valuable commodity?
Yes.
And they have valuable components such as catalytic converters that are
Correct, yes.
frequently stolen. So, and you want to have the barbed wire there for additional security?
Yes, correct.
And will there also be a locked gate?
Yes, there is a gate, and we would maintain it locked at all times.
Okay. Now, there are residential uses that are nearby. Will those be between the fencing and the trees and shrubbery? Will that be screened from view of the?
Yes. Yes, we would have that. It's screened at the moment. We're looking into double screening it just for a complete blockage of views into the property.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with the uses that are allowed in the manufacturing and commercial district under Section 811 of the zoning ordinance?
Yes, I've looked into it, but I'm not 100% like professional when it comes to that. But I did look into it. Yes.
Okay, and are these production or manufacturing uses that would have to occur in a building?
Yes, correct.
And would that be feasible for you to put up a building on this property for a commercial or industrial use?
A building, no, not at the moment.
All right, so would the land otherwise sit vacant if not permitted to be used for vehicle storage?
Correct.
Did you have a plan prepared for the property, by Mr. Masiotti?
Yes, I did.
All right, and we'll have Mr. Masiotti testify. I see that he was able to get onto to the hearing. Will you take measures if the variances are granted to allow this use to make sure that there is no leakage onto the ground of oil and fluids from motor vehicles?
Yes, yes.
And will you not allow junked or disassembled cars to be on the property?
Correct.
Right. I don't have any other questions for Mr. Soriano. Well, let me ask this: were you present when I gave my offer of proof?
What was that again?
Were you present when I was speaking and discussing the use?
Yes, yes.
And if you had been asked questions, would you answer similarly to what I had stated?
Yeah, I can try my best.
Or no, but I mean, if you had been asked questions, would you have answered the same way as far as the facts surrounding the use?
Oh, yes, yes, correct.
Okay. In your opinion, will this have any detrimental effects on the surrounding neighborhood?
No,
Will this contribute to traffic congestion, odors, fumes, or noise?
no,
And will there be any detrimental effects on adjacent properties if this use were permitted?
no.
Okay. At this point, I don't have any further questions for Mr. Soriano.
Okay, do any board members have any questions at this time? Just board members? All right, hearing none. Emily, do you have any questions?
Just one real quick regarding the surface. We have some pictures from a site visit that we did in February that it looks like it's mostly gravel with grass over it. But I'm seeing your pictures and they have pavement. Would you be okay with having our Public Works Department go to check the quality of that to determine if new pavement would be required?
Yes.
Okay. Just because it any kind of driving or parking surface would need to be properly paved. That's all I have. Just to state for the record that a surface parking lot is pretty much allowed in every district except some of our higher intensity districts, and it's something that's going to be resolved within an upcoming ordinance amendment. And so allowing this use would align with future permitted uses.
Okay, thank you. Mark, do you have any questions? No? Okay,
Bill, just one
Charlie?
comment.
yes.
I'd like to recuse myself from this application because I'm a member of the North End Rod and Gun Club.
Okay, that's fine. We will excuse you and thank you for speaking up. We appreciate that. All right. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question? I don't really see anybody on the screen. All right. So, Joan, if you want to have Mr. Mascotti.
Yes, if Mr. Masiotti could please be sworn, and I'll have some questions. And Emily, could you please bring up the plan that was submitted?
All right, Mr. Masiotti, you need to unmute. And will you please raise your right hand? You need to unmute, yeah, you're still muted.
Okay.
There you go. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And Mr. Masiotti, could you please state your full name?
Louis Masiotti.
Are you employed?
I'm a registered architect.
Okay, are you self-employed as a registered architect?
Correct.
Okay, and how long have you been a registered architect in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
Approximately 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay, as an,
And
yeah.
we'll stipulate to his credentials. He's been with us many times before, so that'll be fine.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm offering Mr. Masiotti as an expert in the field of architecture. Mr. Masiotti, are you familiar with the applicant TSG Auto Service LLC and its owner Emilio Soriano?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with TSG and Mr. Soriano?
I met with him to discuss providing a drawing for submission to the board.
Right, and I have what is on the screen, since it wasn't included with the application or was not included with the application. I would like I'd like it marked as applicant exhibit 1. Is this the plan that you prepared for TSG?
Yes.
And was this drawing based on your discussions with Mr. Soriano?
Yes, it was.
Was it based on your observations of the site at 2010 Fairmount Avenue?
Yes, it was.
And do you agree that the site is a 37,000 square foot leased area?
I'm confused about that figure.
Do you agree that the area, that it's approximately 37,000 square feet?
Approximately,
area?
yes. I agree.
And could you describe what the drawing shows?
The drawing shows the existing lot mostly paved, surrounded by a chain link fence with opaque strips to keep vision out. And part of the fence has barbed wire. I'm not sure that, I don't recall if it's all barbed wire at the top. And there are two 12-foot gates from Fairmont Avenue.
Okay, now can you tell us where the vehicles would be parked?
On the drawing, we show an area at the top right corner. They would be parked hood to bumper, stacked for storage, not for use. That would be the pattern of storage on the property.
Okay, so it would be on the entire property, but that's what the pattern of storage would be?
That's the intent, yes.
And that was based on information provided to you by Mr. Soriano?
Yes, it was.
And were you present during Mr. Soriano's testimony?
Yes, I was.
And do you agree that there would not be any detrimental effects on surrounding properties and uses, provided that this plan was followed?
I agree there would be no detriment to the surrounding property.
And do you agree that this property is well suited for storage of vehicles, but not much else?
I think it is well suited for storage, yes.
Okay. And do you agree with Mr. Soriano's testimony that the measures he's taking will prevent any negative impacts on the surrounding neighborhood?
I do agree.
And are all of the opinions to which you're testifying rendered with a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. Masiotti.
Okay. Do any board members have any questions? All right, seeing none. Emily, any question?
No questions.
Mark, any question? Okay. I just have one. I noticed you said something about double stacked cars. Are they having metal racks there to double stack cars? Is that why that's there? Or maybe Mr. Serrano can answer that a little bit better than you can, sir.
Yeah, it's gonna be bumper to bumper, not one on top of the other, just bumper to bumper in a row.
Oh, okay. That answers.
Yeah, sorry.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions? All right, seeing none. Anything else you would like to add, Joan?
There, I move for the admission of applicant Exhibit 1, the Massiotti plan.
Okay, thank you. Any board members, any comments? Anybody else have any comments? If not, I am going to close this hearing. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. Be here. We thank all of you for your participation and have a safe trip home and a good holiday, all
Well,
of you.
thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry
Right.
Christmas. Thank you.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
The next
Guys,
matter.
take care.
Oh.
Oh, okay, we're still going.
The next matter we have before us is Appeal 2411-0031, 1010 Elm Street. GA Investment Corporation is seeking a special exception approval to expand an existing daycare facility by converting a semi-detached warehouse and storage building for the use as an additional classroom space. The subject property is located in the R3 residential zoning district, and the owner of record is G&A Investments Corporation. Okay, would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
Introduce the following exhibits. Exhibit 1 is the notice. Exhibit 2 is proof of publication. Exhibit 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit 4 is the application and all of its attachments. And Exhibit 5 is the zoning ordinance as
Okay.
amended. Do we have counsel for the applicant, or is the applicant self-represented?
We have counsel, and I believe it's Mr. Ho, who's been before us many times. So Scott, we'll let you proceed at this point. And if you have anybody that's going to be a witness, we'll swear them in before the beginning of the hearing.
Very good. So I always begin this by first saying to my former teachers, Mr. Fox and Mr. Catone, I have a hall pass, so I think we're okay. And for those who don't, I used to be a member of this board many moons ago. So thank you very much. It's nice to see everyone. We have the owners and the applicants with us tonight. That is spouses Arianda and Geraldo Bonilla, and those are the only witnesses that we're calling.
Okay, and if you're going to call them, we'll swear them in now. And if you want to do an offer of proof, that's fine with us.
Yeah, the only question I have, there's the exhibits that were included in our application. I also have some additional things. And the question is, am I intelligent enough to figure out the technology of how to share that with the Zoom audience?
Well, we'll give it a shot.
Right. So could you please swear them in?
Okay.
Will
You
you,
wanna swear-
will you
Okay.
both please raise your right hand?
They have to unmute themselves.
You need to unmute.
Yeah.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. I'd like to just provide a brief introduction and then ask just I think we can have a fairly short hearing. There's nothing controversial with this, but I have a little bit of evidence that I'd like to present. And I'd like to just finally reserve a brief 1-minute conclusion when I'm done. So may I proceed, please?
Yes, you may proceed.
Okay, very good. So this board very graciously already granted approval for a daycare center back in 2020. This is in an R3 zoning district, and a daycare center is permitted by special exception. I always like to see when there's a special exception because that means that city council legislatively intended this use.
And so they have an operating daycare center, but not only is it an operating daycare center, I think it's the very, very best daycare center in the city of Reading. They made an extensive capital improvement, and I'm about to show you pictures to show you what a first-class job they did. They also have a stellar reputation with everyone at the city, everyone in zoning, in codes, in building inspections, as well as all the state licensing. This is a first-class blue chip daycare center. And I wish every single daycare center that came before this board was as well managed as this one. There's a very small detached garage building that was marked on the original plan as a storage building. It's a 2-story garage. And so the purpose of this is just simply to utilize that for additional classroom space. That's all we're talking about this evening. Because your original grant of special exception from 2020 identified that building as a storage building and not as classroom space, zoning requested that we come before the board again. So tonight is just special exception relief for the 2-story garage only. Okay, great. I saw a moment ago the site plan. Could we begin by bringing the site plan up, please? Very good. All right. I think Mrs. Bonilla, do you want to be the one who answers questions?
Yes.
State your full name for the record and spell it.
Ariana Bonilla, Ariadna, Bonilla, Bonilla.
Thank you.
Great. On the computer screen, is this a copy of your site development plan from your professional from 2020?
It is.
Great. Could you just orientate the board very quickly the location of Elm Street, Mulberry Street, Saw Court Alley, those things?
Sure. At this time, the center operates with safe 2-story building, which is 1010 Elm Street. There is like a little playground behind, and then it's the garage lighted with the highlights, yellow highlight.
And I'm going to ask you some questions to help the board follow along. Can you, I guess you're not in control of the cursor, so it's difficult to see, but is it correct that Elm Street is the front of the care center, and that's located in a north direction?
Elm Street is like the physical address, but the main entrance we use is the parking lot, which is Mulberry Street.
Yeah, so let's emphasize that. So nobody enters, it's locked. You do have front doors, but they are locked for security purposes. So is it correct that the children do not enter and exit, or guests do not enter and exit from Elm Street?
That's correct. The parents pick it up and drop it off by the Mulberry Street, which is our parking lot. The Elm Street is just like the physical address of the whole project, but they use for pick it up and drop off the 242 Mulberry Street.
Okay, very good. And is it correct that Mulberry Street is on the eastern perimeter of the property?
It is.
Great. Is it fair to describe the alley, I'm sorry, your parking lot is at the rear of your property?
It is.
And is it fair to describe Saul's Court as a very old turn of the last century small brick alley in the city of Reading?
Yes.
Very good. At the time that you first acquired the property, was it correct that the parking lot, although the homes were already demolished, previously were a bunch of single row home parcels? So there were multiple deeds, perhaps 6, 7, 8 different deeds that were originally part of the
acquisition of this property?
Yes, it was 7 different parcels and we consolidated on just one. So now everything
And
belongs
let
to
me, if I may interrupt you, was it a condition of the City of Reading's Zoning Hearing Board's 2020 decision that you consolidated all those smaller parcels into one single parcel?
Yes, that was one of the conditions.
And have you now completed that consolidation?
I did. I completed.
Great. In trying to be very brief, could you just orientate the board to the pattern of how parents drop off their children and where they walk them into your school facility?
Sure. They take Mulberry Street, they park. We have all of those spaces, empty spaces for parents and staff. They walk into a little like hall, which is fenced already. We have like doorbell and camera that they need to do it before going to the promise. That's how they do it.
Very good. And just to emphasize, that door is also locked, but there's a camera system and a doorbell system to maintain security at your school.
That's right.
Access control.
Great. Finally, do you see the area on the plan that is highlighted in yellow on this plan?
Yes, I do.
Could you please describe to the board what that represents?
At this time, it's like a storage building. That's why we think that can be a good idea to put like another classroom in that yellow area that you mentioned.
Great. Okay. And as I'm going to ask you some other questions, but Emily, could you provide some direction? If I hit the share button, may I share documents that I have on the computer? Is that what I should do? You're on mute, Emily.
Sorry about that. Yeah, if you just hit the green share button, it'll give you options for what you want to share.
Very good. Thank you very much.
If it gives you too much trouble, you can always forward it to me as well, and I can share for you.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Howe, are you going to ask that any of these documents you're sharing be marked as exhibits?
I do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I is the board able to see my screen?
Yes, we see that. We see things.
What is the solicitor and the board's pleasure? I have 32 photographs, but I would just call this all A1 as just a single thing, and then we can just they're already numbered, photograph number 1 through 32.
Yeah, I would just keep it simple because we're really just talking about one room. I mean, the others is all approved and so forth. So yeah, let's just do it as efficiently as you can. That's not going to.
Mr. Rubino, would you like me to speed up, because I could certainly conclude this in 3 or 4 minutes if you'd like.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't want to cut off what you have to say, but we do understand the property. We approved it and we know that it's operated properly. So, you know, it's not something I think we need to be convinced about.
Okay.
We just
Very
need
good.
to know what they're doing.
Then what I'm going to do is not have, I was going to have the applicants testify as to each picture, but I agree that's probably not necessary.
No, it's not.
I'm going to just zero in then on the particular building that we're talking about. Before I do that, Mrs. Bonilla, do you recall how much money was the size of your SBA loan and the other money that you personally put in? What was your total capital investment into the purchase and renovation of this property?
We're talking like a rough number of $700,000.
$700,000. They did not skimp. This is a major capital investment. And I'm just going to scroll through, beginning showing the pictures, Saul Alley. There are some of the greeting desk, the indoor spaces. This is the hallway on the first floor. You can see everything is just top shelf, first class inside here. There's the existing industrial building warehouse building was a 2-story building, completely renovated up to city codes. There's also a second floor. And they have a very robust after-school program where older elementary age kids can come, they can play, they can read, there's a library, all of those things. So we're going very rapidly, but first class thing. This is their outdoor tot lot, and this is also the secured entrance. Okay, starting here at photo number 21. What can you, Mrs. Bonilla, please tell the board what they're looking at in photo number 21?
Okay, this is the parking lot where the parents walk through that hallway, I'm sorry. And then is the doorbell, and on the right is the storage building that we've been talking about.
Great. Is the building at photo number 22 that has the red paint and the black garage door, is this the subject building that we're talking about?
It is.
Great. In photograph number 23, is that the south wall of this building from the parking lot?
It is.
Great. Is the view on photograph number 25 a different picture of the same subject building?
It is. That's from South Court.
Excuse
Great.
me?
That's from the South Court view.
Okay. Now entering this doorway and this garage door, is photograph number 29, is that an accurate representation of what this currently looks like on the first floor?
That's how it looks now. Yeah.
Photograph number 30, is that also the first floor of this property?
It is.
Great. Photograph number 31, is that what the second floor of this building looks like?
Yes, it is.
Great. Photograph number 32, is that also of the second floor of this building?
It is.
Great. If the board grants you relief, what is your intended use of this building?
At this time, we're thinking like 2 classrooms or preschool or school ages can be good on that spaces. We have like a big waiting list, waiting for a space because of the need in the area. So that's what we've been thinking on another classroom for first floor and second floor.
Great. Will this comply with all city building codes, environmental codes, health and safety codes when you when you submit building plans and seek a building permit and an occupancy permit? Is it your intention to comply with all city codes?
Yes.
Are you regulated by the state of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Are there very specific requirements under state statute regarding things such as the size, the number of students, based on the square footage of your facilities?
Yes.
Does your project comply with all state statutory regulations?
Yes, we have an actual license.
This is a very important question. Are you asking the board to increase at all any additional students or children compared to the relief that they granted you in 2020?
No.
And the reason for that is that you, even though you're already permitted more, you just felt that you didn't want to put kids in so densely. So you're not asking for an increase in the number of students. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Great. But you just have this other building and you want to create some extra space for it.
I think extra space, and also like more staff is gonna be there, more work for the city, like more, I can employ more people also.
Great. How popular is your daycare center? What kind of a waiting list do you have for this?
At this time, we have like a 25 kids on the waiting list. We are quality, star 4 on quality in reference of daycares. So I think that we've been doing good with that.
Great. Finally, is there anything in your proposed project that you think would be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding neighborhood?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, those are all the questions and witnesses. Again, I just would like to have 1 minute at the end, please.
Okay. Well, let's start with board members. Do any board members have any questions?
Nope.
All right. I can't see their faces, so I'm assuming that nobody has their hand up. Okay. Emily, any question?
No questions, but just stating for the record that they currently have 10 parking spaces in excess, so they would be able to increase their employees by no more than 20, provide, given how much parking there is with the number of students that they have. So they do have enough parking that if they need more employees, they have the space for them.
Good. That seldom happens. All right. Mark, any questions? We can't hear you. There, go ahead. Still can't hear you.
How about now?
Yep.
Yeah,
There we go. You know, so my computer crashed on Monday, so I have a rental computer and I'm not liking it. Since it's awesome. Scott, do you just want to mark your exhibit as applicant's exhibit number 1, collective 32 photos?
Yes, please.
Okay, and can you forward a copy of that to Emily, please?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Although it's 2 minutes, the file size is too large. I've got to figure out the zip drive thing because I can't send it by regular email. If not, we'll print them out and drop it off at City Hall.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody in the audience? I don't think there's anybody in the audience, but anybody in the audience have any questions? All right. Seeing none. Scott, do you want to do your summation?
Yes, please. I think I still am on screen share. It's been a while since I've been before you, so I know you've missed my legal memorandum. I don't know how many other attorneys do that, but this is very short, and I'll also submit that to include, we just set forth the legal arguments, and I don't think that there's anything controversial. This is a great project, but again, under the R3 district, which just falls under, this is a special exception, and the board in granting special exception relief is just should grant it unless you find that there's a health, safety, or welfare obstacle or to this, which of course this is not. I just commend these applicants. Really, really good people providing a great service, and they've made a major capital investment in the city of Reading and have done everything absolutely perfectly. And I think we should give them a pat on the back and hope that we can attract other kinds of business investors to our city. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're most welcome. All right. If there's no other business, and there apparently is nobody in the audience, I'm going to close this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be, decision will be mailed to you. And before we close for the evening, there's a couple of remarks I would like to make. First of all, we are going to lose one of our board members, Mr. Harst, Bill Harst. Bill's been with us for many, many years and has done a great job with us. He's not going to re-up, and his appointment runs out in January. So we'll miss Bill, and we thank him for his service. And we are also going to gain a full-time board member, and that's Charlie Jones. Charlie Jones is going to be taking Bill's place, and Charlie's a great asset to us. He's an engineer, had a lot of experience in the city of Reading, So we appreciate that. So we thank both of these gentlemen for their work and their efforts. Bill, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'm gonna miss it. It's been a long time, and if I will really miss the coming to the board meetings, and I've enjoyed my experience. So, and I've enjoyed working with all of you. Believe me, it's been a good experience.
Okay, thank you. All right, we would also like to wish all of you good holiday, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa, or maybe not even celebrating at all, but just take a couple of minutes or a couple of hours and take a deep breath and relax and try to enjoy yourself. And we hope that all of you have a great 2025. It's hard to believe that another year has rolled by, but it certainly has. And thank everybody who participated. We appreciate that.